in the classroom, we can control the environment, we can control the setting, we have everything, ideal for learning. But when they're at home, you can't control their sibling who's running across the room screaming, and sometimes they're in their 20s. This is my 9th year teaching, and I love PRC, I love being there. That's a passion of mine. I just like being able to make an impact on those kids. Those are the ones that they're sent off their campus to us, and we're basically teaching the at-risk of the at-risk, and I like the challenge. A lot of the students, they have a learning disability, an emotional disability. I've taught some students that have come from really tough places in their lives. I remember I had a conversation with a student, and he was this tall 6-foot boy, and here I am 5 feet working with him one-on-one, and we were doing an English lesson, and we were talking about love and stuff like that, and I said, well, there's different kinds of love, and I said, you know what, like, I love my students. And he just started crying, and I said, what's wrong? And he said, well, nobody's ever said that to me. He said, no adult has ever said that they love me before. And that right there, that was better than any reward or any type of title, just to know that somebody knows that you care about them. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism, and especially in a time like this, you have to be optimistic and wake up in the morning every day and just know that you are going to make a difference. I think more than anything, even if it is just for 3, 6, or 9 months, whatever long their placement is, for them to know that somebody genuinely cares about them, I hope that's what they'll remember.
Growing up, I had a lot of amazing teachers and counselors that encouraged me and just motivated me to become a better person, to go to college. A student inspired me to teach. My freshman year in college, we were in the, part of the Honor Society, Phi Theta Kappa, and one year we volunteered at the Special Olympics, and we were all paired up with a buddy. And my little boy he's Down syndrome. And at first, when he first met me, he didn't know me. So he was kind of shy, and after a while though, he was hugging on me and loving on me, and it just melted my heart. And I go, you know what? I want to work with these children. And so I became a special ed teacher for many years. And on the side, I would do theater arts. Theater is live, and since we cannot go live, the next best thing was to make videos. I told the kids, this pandemic is not going to steal our joy. We're going to make it happen no matter what. A lot of students are shy, and my class helps them to overcome their shyness. It's different when I'm there in the classroom with them to motivate them, and hey, come on, it's a different situation. My students still were given the opportunity to create and record their projects and their commercials and their skits. We still made it happen. They still created magic. So even though we were under the pandemic, my students still were given the opportunity to create. Are my students all going to grow up to become directors and actors and go to Hollywood? Probably not. But if I can inspire them to come out of their shell and become more confident, become confident adults and students, then it's all worth it. Hopefully my students will look back and say that I helped them, that my class helped them overcome their fears, and that I helped them become confident adults, and that I gave them the encouragement and the confidence to go out there and just face the real world.
They constantly keep you on your toes. They try to make it, be fun throughout the day, because what else can they do? But there's so much that happens at the 8th grade. They're funny. They tell you jokes. I think one of the challenging things that has been is learning all the multiple digital platforms, going from one extreme to a whole nother. In the classroom, I was so used to like, okay, we're gonna do group work, we're gonna do these cards, we're gonna do this in the classroom, you guys are gonna present. There was all of these things, and now having to change those strategies, and I think some of the kids have done really well. Some of them are really great at the digital platforms, and then some really miss the classroom. And I can see it every time they get frustrated. You can tell. Watching them kind of have that frustration, and I'm just like, how can I help them? How can I help them, get past that? I hope I can still continue teaching as long as I can. As long as I can, that I can still teach the kids something and not just be there just for nothing, The whole point is for them to learn. I still see my teachers in the high school, and I'm just like, whoa, I hope I can be like that. Hopefully I'm still teaching, and I'm like, I'm doing, still a great job. I would hope that they would say that they learned something in the classroom that they continue to use even now, even if it's from something that they learned as far as how to take great notes, that they use that same method or have changed their method over the time to take with them to even to the university level, that they learned something that has helped them along the way to be a better student, or just to be a better individual.
From teaching remotely to figuring out ways to keep them online, because some of them have a little habit of putting the icon, and I have a way to ameliorate that little issue. It's called Class Dojo, and I created a little dojo to send to the parents. Your child is not in class, the icon is on, your child is not there. You can ding them when they're doing something awesome and they start getting in a competition, who has the most points on Class Dojo. And it's almost like I have become a game show host. I had a whole nother career. I ended up getting my master's degree in psychology, and I had a very good career with the Department of Mental Health and Mental Retardation. And I started teaching because I wanted to get on the other end of that spectrum, and thought, well, maybe I can help students that are struggling. This one little guy walked into my room one year, and I knew he was shut down. He had been misdiagnosed as ADHD. What the kid was extremely gifted and talented, and challenging to teachers. He is brilliant. That child is brilliant. The deal is, he doesn't suffer fools, because fools had damaged him. Someone had made him hate school. And since that had happened to me years ago, I totally related to where he was coming from. They do come to us with emotions and feelings, and we need to be cognizant of that all the time. I just want to make it better.
I teach because I get the privilege to see my students grow. I get to teach them to better themselves in the world that we live in today. I teach because I get to see them smile every time they learn something new or they achieve a goal. My students are with me from 1st grade to 5th grade, so I get to see them grow throughout the years. They become like family, not just them, but the parents as well. The rewards that I get from it, I get to see them just be kids, and it reminds me of what it's like to be a kid. because they don't take a lot of things serious. I know as adults, we forget that. I get to see them be silly, funny, and sometimes brutally honest. But the biggest reward for me is when they achieve a goal that they've been striving for, sometimes days for our students, sometimes weeks or months. And when they finally reach that goal, that's the best feeling in the world. I think that's our main focus, especially like in a self-contained unit, because they have trouble sometimes learning. Just the smallest progress that they make that motivates us to keep going. I live in a different city, so it's kind of hard to see the students, but the times that I went to a autism awareness walk, and I saw one of my students. She ran up to me, and the first thing she asked me is, "Why aren't you in the classroom?" And I explained to her, "Oh, I'm here for the walk." And she asked, "Well, are you gonna go back to the classroom to sleep?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Just like everybody else, Mr. Peña has a house." And she kept asking questions. "Why are you wearing shorts?" So I already knew. I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna let my students know. Teachers are normal too, and it's okay if you see them out in public. It's okay to say hi.
I just love teaching. I've been doing this for 32 years, and this is my last group of kids, and I want to go out with a bang, I guess. I didn't start off wanting to be a teacher. It never was in the cards for me, I don't know. Start off computer science, accounting, and then as I was going to college, my mom was actually getting her degree. At age 53, she got her college degree and she became a teacher. So she inspired me, my sister, and eventually my brother. So 3 of us in the family are teachers now. And it's all because of my mom working full time, going to school at night, taking care of 6 of us. So she was a big inspiration. That's why I became a teacher. It is a lot different now than when I started. There's so much more responsibility, so much more pressure, I guess. There's just a lot that we want the kids to be able to do, to succeed in. I'm not a big technology person, so I've learned a lot this year, thanks to my colleague. Of the 32 years, this is the most memorable of, wow. I didn't know it would take so much to reach the students as it has this year. From when I started till now, especially now, patience with the children. They're all different and come from different home lives, and we don't know everything that they're going through, but just have a lot of patience with them and show love for them. Definitely, they can tell if you really care for them. I remember my first grade teacher many moons ago, Mrs. Long, and so I'm hoping they remember me, because if I made an impact on their life, I'm hoping they'll remember that I was their teacher.
Something that I grew up with. It's something I grew up with, a love of learning, and I understand the importance of it. I really, really do believe that education is our greatest equalizer. I definitely would say it's my family. That's where I draw my biggest inspiration from. My family growing up and seeing I had these amazing role models. But my mother is definitely, she's an administrator, and she is somebody who I just, everything that I am and everything that I will be, I owe to her. She's just seeing her dedication and how hard she worked. Not only did she inspire me, but she set the tone for my career. I'm really literally following her footsteps. I'm trying to maintain exactly what I would do in person, online, really trying to connect with my online students, whether it be, one-on-one time, because sometimes you have to say, okay, what is it that you need to know, and how can I reteach it in a way that you will understand? You have to really individualize your instruction. It's difficult, but it's doable. Every day in education is different. You never know what you're gonna get. And being able to not only adapt, but adapt and keep your composure is something that I just think every teacher, eventually we get to that point where we can do that. This year I've had the privilege of having my son in my class.
and it's definitely been one of the greatest gifts. As a parent, we obviously know what our kids are capable of, but as students, it's completely different. Getting to see what he's like in the classroom has just been amazing. And to not only witness him grow, but contribute to his formal education has also just been one of the greatest gifts. I don't think I'll ever forget that. And if I had to say I have a favorite, it would be him. I would hope that he thinks of me like I think of my mother.
I love it. It's different. It's a lot different, and I love it there. The kids, they say that they're I guess like not the best of the ideal students, I guess a teacher will want to see, but really they're just other students. And I don't see no difference between them and students here at VMA or at the high school or anywhere else. You know, I've been teaching a long time, and I worked in schools with students that are at all types of levels, and they're all the same in the end. You know, they're good kids. You don't have your rowdy kids, but overall, they're smart. The kids are real smart. I started thinking about all the kids that came through our school. You know, it's like a flash. I'll give you an example. I knew I had a kid, and she was at the 7th grade level, I believe. She was already too old to be at Miller Jordan, but she came to Gateway. And even though she was our student, she was still doing math and every class they had from that level. She made it to the high school level, and she pushed through. You know, she kept going, and she took all her EOCs with us, passed them all. She graduated. She married a student that was also at Gateway. Last I heard about them, they were up in San Antonio, so they were doing real good. It's a good school. And the kids, when they come in, I tell them, you know why you're here. Whatever happened to you, whether you went through the wrong path or you're here for a reason. And what you gotta do is remember, don't never forget or put it behind you. What's more important is where you're gonna see yourself in a few years from now. And you gotta adjust your life, and you gotta get out of here.
It is a bundle of skills that you need to have. You need to have empathy, patience, and flexibility. Education is the one profession that is constantly evolving. So you have to be able to change with it. And if there's something that you think needs to be changed, you need to be the change. You need to be willing to step up and have the patience to persevere in what the change needs to be. That most especially when I'm dealing with children, you need to have that empathy. You need to have that understanding, even if you don't have that experience that they're going through. In order for the child to see you as a person, to be able to learn from you, you have to make the connection. Empathy is the only way you're going to make the connection. I worked a lot with nonprofit organizations. In New Mexico, I was with PACA, People Against Child Abuse. I would see a lot of that going on. And a lot of the kids, one of the groups that I organized was most of the kids were in gangs. So trying to get them to understand there's other ways. And a lot of them were like, well, no, I don't do in school, so maybe this. So it was a matter of trying to reach them before they end up there. And school, to me, was a perfect place because of the fact that the school has more to offer other than just academics. So hopefully I'm doing that. Make sure I reach out to the parents, the children, and make them aware of what the community and the school has to offer. They motivate me largely because of the fact that they have the same enthusiasm to learn new things. I love learning things. I mean, I'll read anything. Give me a box of cereal. I'll read the directions just because it's there. So the motivation I get every day is their curiosity. feeding that curiosity is just so infectious that you can't do anything but go along with it. With technology now, it's at their fingertips. So we can find out about anything, anywhere.
But they flipped the picture on me. I had teachers that they had been in school with my parents, they had taught my siblings, you know, one of them was able to teach my son that was also my teacher, and now I'm becoming that teacher. Getting to see those generations coming through from San Benito. I was always interested in teaching. Even when I was in high school, I wanted to teach, but I actually wanted to coach. And once I started taking my education classes in college, I was like, no, I just want to be in the classroom. Like, this is more fun to me. Interacting with the kids, I just enjoy it. I did coach a little bit, but I prefer the classroom. I prefer being in the classroom with the kids. The students, they teach me, I teach them, we learn things together. Even with like this virus that we have right now, I was already following it way before it was in the United States, and we've always studied pandemics and we studied viruses and how they spread in my class, and I hope I had prepared my students enough to know what was going on when everything started happening, because we studied that in class. Some want independent practice, things that they can just do on their own. Let me figure it out on my own. Let me read this and let me work on this on my own. Let me figure it out and then I'll ask you questions. Others need that guidance. They need us to help them with it. And I think they miss a lot of the hands-on activities. They need those hands-on activities. And we try to do virtual labs, but it's not the same as seeing it in person. So it just depends on the kids. Some of them took to it very well. They're doing better now than they were doing in our traditional setting. And they like this setting, and others are completely turned off. So we have all kinds of spectrums. The ones that impact me the most are when you see the success in the kids, especially those that have struggled. They've never passed an EOC exam or a state exam, and to see them find success and find confidence in their knowledge, that's the most rewarding part for me, at least.
It was a challenge, and I don't think it was just a challenge for special education, to be honest with you. If I'm realistically speaking with you, it wasn't just special education. I think it was everywhere, all across the board. I was in college. I think it was my second year, and honestly, I was kind of going more toward law enforcement, criminal justice type of thing. One of my brothers, he's a teacher as well, my older brother, and he kind of talked to me about it. And at the time, you know, I kind of started researching into it. I saw an opening in one of the campuses, actually Oscar de la Fuente, for a TA position. And I think after that first year, I think I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to do education. A lot of times, you see that some students do depend on you. You know, sometimes some students do look forward to that time with the teacher. You build those relationships, you build that rapport, and I feel that students look forward to that. And when you see that you're kind of like that resource to them, I believe that's a motivation itself. With COVID, you know, I think this was a big eye-opener for a lot of people, for everybody, and it was just a challenge itself for everyone. And this was a time where you needed to be flexible, you needed to become innovative. If you weren't so, you know, but those were just two of the most needed skills, I would say, especially in this field. I hope that they're able to carry on skills of something that we taught them, you know. And I say we because a lot of times I'm in the classroom, but there's just so many people involved. You know, it's more than just one teacher. It's more than just that one teacher. It really isn't. It's way more people involved in the process of having or helping the kids reach success. So far, you know, it feels right to me. It feels right, it feels good, it feels rewarding at some points, and I just enjoy it. I've enjoyed it.
My college advisor told me, like, well, what do you want to be? And like, I was undeclared my first semester. Second semester, I went back to him. It's like, do you have a clue on what you want to do? It's like, nope, not really. You know, you have the face of a teacher, so just go for it. Teaching was not my first option. My parents always like teach me, like, just help others. You know, like, we were blessed, you know, like my family was able to pay like for my education and everything. So it's like, it's your turn to go and help others. I wanted to be a volunteer, do missionary work, but my parents of course told me, like, you need to get a degree. I wanted to find a profession where I can help others. And I found that in teaching, able to help my students and make an impact in their lives. Oh, it makes me so happy. Like, basically right now it's like with my upper grade levels, like going through multiplication tables and they're like, oh, no, we don't get it, or I don't know, I remember, like going back and having them those big open eyes, like the wide open, like, oh, I get it now, I feel so good, or miss, I want to do it. I think every teacher should be passionate on what they do, especially because you are manipulated minds and creative that you want for them to be successful. So I think passion will be the very skill that teachers should have. Teaching is challenging no matter, 5 years I've gone through many things that sometimes it's like, do I want to continue doing this? But it's basically having a positive attitude. Like I'm here for my students. I see them as my own kids. I hope for them like that I do care, and I just want the best for them and for them to know that.
13, is everybody here already logged in? Give me a thumbs up.
Right after high school, starting in college, I was like, no, I want to do teaching. I want to work where I can be able to like teach or show somebody how to do something new. So I had the best mentor in my life, my mom. She's the best. She was a teacher in Mexico, in Matamoros, and I grew up over there, and it was the best experience. I love having the kids back now. I mean, not all of them, but I have a good chunk of them back in the classroom. And you try to like form these bonds with the kids at home, and it's difficult. I had to figure out a way to separate them from that mentality. Okay, we're home, but we're also in school. I try to find ways to make it fun, because before, like in the classroom, we were like, okay, I need these kids to quiet down so that I can teach. And now it's the complete opposite. I'm like, okay, how do I make them talk to me? But I'm always encouraging them, let's come back to school. We'll have fun here. I'll keep you all apart, don't worry about it. I live for when a kid tells me, oh, I understand, or I don't need your help, I can figure it out. Like that, like when we have a test now towards the end of the year, I'm like, let me know if you need help, or like, let me help you with this one. Do you want me to read it for you? No, I got it. Okay, perfect. You don't need me anymore, perfect. That's what I love about it. They're all so unique, and they all have their personal hobby and their own way of thinking, and it's interesting. Like, we're all there learning. I tell them all the time, I'm learning with you, and I'm having fun doing it. When they grow up or when they get older, if they don't really like remember every single subject or every topic that I taught, maybe they'll just remember like, oh, I had fun in that class, or that was a good class to be on, or I like having her as my teacher. So that's kind of like what I always aim for.
Education has taken me very far. As a kid and as a student myself, I always loved going to school. I wasn't one to want to be home. So I teach to inspire my students to see that their world is not what it has to be, like, or where they're at. It can be more. I couldn't attribute my passion for teaching to one specific person. From custodial workers to maintenance crews to The teachers that were once my teachers that became colleagues and my principals that I worked with, all of these people have contributed in some way to my success. History has always been my passion. I love it. I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I love to travel. So I like to incorporate that into my teaching. And so that drives my passion. I want them to know that there's more out there that they can see and do if they apply themselves. Their education is everything. In my class, I've always wanted to make learning fun, and the way we did that, or the way I did it, was a lot of hands-on activities and group projects and seeing the kids interact and take control of their own learning, and that with the pandemic has changed so much. Everything is online, there is no hands-on, it's very hard to do a group project, or even to be in the same room together. It's been difficult. Their motivation isn't there to learn, and you're not there right next to them to keep them on track. So it's been very challenging to switch to a remote learning curriculum from what we were used to. I feel like the most beneficial skill that any teacher can have is the ability to adapt. Not only in the way that we teach or we deliver our instruction, but to adapt to our students when what they need. I know that they like to repeat what I say now, you're not gonna quit, you're gonna try, you're gonna try. So that's something that all my kids know I'm always saying. So I know that my former students will know that I cared, that I was one of their greatest supporters, and that I would never let them give up without trying, without putting in their best effort in anything they did.
Work is a little more complex. We'd have to go over that on the board, but let's go ahead and check it out. I was in a military civil engineering unit, and one of the instructors there suddenly died. They said, well, you haven't taught the area, but you're competent in that area. Next Monday, you're going to be teaching that area. So that's what I did. Of course, you're working with a little bit different group, because the people that we were working with were people that were right out of basic military training. They didn't move or breathe unless they were told to or anything else. And so that was a little different, but the aspect of trying to show somebody a particular skill is still the same. Well, here's the thing. I don't really consider myself a teacher. I consider myself an instructor. And there's a difference. Most of the time, teachers will deal with facts, figures, from math to history to learning stuff, whereas an instructor is someone who might do some teaching in there, but mainly is focused on doing particular skill or skill sets. Well, it's just can't do what we're supposed to do when it comes straight down to it. If I'm doing something that's supposed to be a manipulative, hands-on, skill type thing, it just doesn't work virtually. And I've tried to demonstrate things. I've tried to do a few assignments that work virtually. But as far as trying to do what I think I'm supposed to do, it's been impossible, to be honest with you. You got to do the best you can with what you have, which is what we did. But as far as getting the most out of it, as far as what the students should get out of it, that part's not there. Try to understand the students a little bit and read them a little bit and see where you can tell if they're having a problem that day, and you'll know what their normalcy is and what it's not. One say that I was very strict. The others say that they enjoyed it, and the other ones say they learned some things that they carried on and used. And of course, I do have students that have received electrical license. Some have received master electrician license and stuff that I've talked to.
So I've had some of those students that, I don't know, they don't want to come to school, they're complaining, but I found a way to get them engaged with me, and just, school can be a fun place. You just have to make it fun. It's your choice. I teach at Rangerville Elementary. I am self-contained, so I teach all the subjects. I'm in 4th grade teacher, and I have been teaching since 2018. This would be my 3rd year. So I'm still very fresh into this whole teaching career. The difference between being in the classroom and online that I find the most difficult is being able to put them into groups because I'm really into partner work or partner talking and think, pair, and share. Online, like, they are learning, but I think they're learning more technology instead of actual concepts. Well, funny story, I didn't want to be a teacher the first time. I wanted to be a veterinarian because I love animals. I've always loved animals. But once I started taking those courses in college, I was like, okay, this is not for me. Like, I love animals, but I guess I could love them at home instead of actually taking care of them. And then I also go back to my 5th grade teacher. Her name was Mrs. Lewis from Port Isabel. She was always, she is the kindest teacher I have ever met in my entire life. Once you walked into her classroom, it was like a brand new start every time. So she gave you that benefit of the doubt to where she knows you can be successful and she knows you can do it, and she would push you as well. And she made me feel like no matter what I did, I know she's gonna be there for me. Having someone besides your parents to be there for you and support you is a whole different feeling, and that's why I teach, because I wanna be someone who can be like, who, just like Mrs. Lewis, be there for everybody. Be there for everyone and show them that no matter who you are, like, I'm here to support you. And if you have, baggage and you're coming in and you've got, attitudes and things like that, I want to be the one to be able to change it. I want to be the one to show you, I can help you. You just have to let me help you. I hope they remember me as someone that someone that made them feel loved and respected. Because I try to do that for all of my students, even if they're getting on my last nerve. I try to fake it till I make it, so.
It is a total different environment. The lesson plan that was perfect, every single year, and everybody loves it and everybody jumps, and you're there and it's like, crickets. I actually started teaching in Mexico when I literally just graduated, so it will be my 8th year basically, because I started like right away. So over there, I was teaching pre-K and kinder. And when I got here, I still remember my director, which is actually Dr. Quesada, our bilingual director here. I was so used to the activities and the lessons that I would do when I was in the lower grade levels. And she told me, no, because you have to learn, because you never know at what camps are you going to teach, where are you going to be at. You can be in 1st and 3rd and 5th and even in 6th grade. She's like, so you need to get exposed to it. Out of the sudden, when I arrived to actually go see my class, they were like, no, you're in 3rd now. And I'm like, So I guess in a way it did help me, because I was able to have that experience of the lower grade levels and the upper grade level as well. I think a teacher is just not one skill, it's you need to be a leader as well, and you need to be able to work with others, be able to learn. Every little tiny head that walks into your classroom is just an entire whole world, and we are, of course, so concerned with the academics, right? We want to make sure our students understand the concept and they're learning and they're getting the concept, and they're also being able to show you that they understand or master any skill. But at the same time, that is not going to happen if you don't have a good relationship with them. I feel that one of the most important things is not to give up. There's going to be positive moments, there's going to be moments that you are going to struggle, but it is really, really important that you do seek for that help, for that support. And there's going to be days that you're like, what's going on? But it's just part of every single job, I would say. It has the goods and the bads, but it is a very rewarding career. I really enjoy what I do.
Just like that. Now where's your zigzag? There you go. Put glue, and then you're going to put it right here on the top, okay?
I love San Benito CISD. I do. I love the educators that I've come across and, just cross paths with. They're so inspiring and they keep me motivated. So I'm a product of San Benito CISD. I went to Dr. Cash Elementary, Miller Jordan Middle School, and San Benito High School. I'm a Greyhound. Listen, I'm totally different from my sister and from the student I used to be, okay? I've grown. This year, I would say one of the challenges was really reaching each one of them. I had to really get creative and reach out to parents, home visits. I mean, I had to hunt them down. But I will tell you what, once they started showing up, they didn't stop. Now that we are face-to-face and at home remote, the challenge is teaching to 2 different classrooms almost. I mean, we've had to, as educators, become very creative in coming up with meaningful learning activities that challenge the students at home, that challenge the students in the classroom and engage everybody at the same time. I was giving the best lesson. I was into it. I was getting them engaged. I was giving it my all. And 5 minutes into the lesson, they were like, Miss Gonzalez, you're on mute. Oh my goodness. I have gotten used to being embarrassed. At any point in my class, you might show up. I might be dancing wapango. I might be talking with a funny accent. I have come to accept that I'm not embarrassing, I'm engaging. We put in the hard work, even on the tough days, and we reach these little milestones with our students, and that keeps us going. So passion and love motivates education. Congratulations on making it through this year, man. I'm so proud of all the teachers out there. We're not done yet, but we're almost there. We're towards the finish line, and I just want to say, hey, we're in this together. I'm so proud to be here with everybody here at SBC ISD.